Alright, good day, shit fucks. We make this way too complicated. So, I don't watch Fnaf theory videos or like anything about the lore relating to people talking about it. So, if someone said this in theory video, you can correct me. Go ahead. I like that. Go ahead. So, I'm gonna say this now. It isn't complicating. We make it complicating because from what we've seen in the games and the books, and I know someone's gonna be like, well, books aren't canon, but we haven't been proved that they aren't. No one said they aren't. And I'm using the movie trailers because we have enough evidence. Come on now. Anyways, so we know that they open the diners together, William and Afton. Okay, we know at some point during this, William decides he wants to go on a murdering spree. He kills kids. Okay, he then designs the mimic, which is an animatronic that he would teach to murder the kids. Okay, and you don't believe me on this? Look to the movie. What happens when the animatronics are under his control? Red eyes. And I know people have been like, oh, well, that could just be that they're being, they're using the database from FNAF 2 to look at people's faces. But then, if they were to do that, they would have to be connected to some sort of network. It wouldn't just be simple, which then means it would once again be either artificial intelligence or mimic, which I'm assuming mimic because yeah, we have AI, but the mimic is more. It could be just mimic and AI stacked on top of each other to make it simplified, because that would make sense from both the stories, the books and the series from what we've gotten so far, and that makes sense, okay? But let's just go with the base premise of, it's a mimic, right? So if it's a mimic and he teaches it to kill kids, right? And then, oh no, it kills my daughter, right? And then William decides he's going to roll back the idea, which we know he does, and goes back to murdering kids by himself, okay? And now, let's take a step back, because we know Willie murders the kids, and we know that people say, well, the kids get stuffed in the suits, okay? Let's use our logic and our brain, which people don't use, right? So, if the animatronics are on stage, actually, let's use a better example. You ever been to Chuck E. Cheese? You know how close you can get to those stages? You can get right up on them motherfuckers. And you know what? If you put a dead body in one, you would smell that motherfucker through the whole establishment. Okay? You ain't gonna lie to me and be like, oh yeah, you wouldn't smell it. It's fine. You would never know. Like, you would know. It smells of death. Everyone knows what death smells like. Okay? So let's use our thinking brain and let's put that motherfucker up there. Okay? Alright. Okay. And now we get to the part where people are going to be like, what about the give life minigame with the marionette putting the bodies in the suits? That's not the body, that's the soul. Because why the fuck would okay, let's think about this logically, okay? The marionette picking up a dead body, shoving it in a suit, which it wouldn't fit, right? We already talked about the odor. The body wouldn't fit. There'd be blood and guts everywhere, right? So, so no. Also, I'm killing my throat, but fuck this. So, no, that wouldn't be a thing. So, well, instead we're going to just simply say it's the soul, because that makes sense. There's no smell, there's no complaints, there's nothing there'd be gaps. Holes would be in this timeline, nothing would make sense. So it's the soul. And that's where we get Remnant. That's how he finds and it severs. Remnant is because the Give Life minigame puts the souls in the animatronics, and that's when they learn to fight back. That's when he gets spring locked. And you know what? That's when we get to, you wanna guess where? FNAF 3. Wow! Because he gets walled up in the safe room because Henry finds him. Henry then, I don't think it was Henry, I think Fazbear themselves just released him in FNAF 3 because they found a vintage animatronic, but like, come on, that's a dead guy who's been revived with Remnant. But then again, I know someone in the comments to be like, oh, Remnant, I don't like Remnant. Like, it's in the book, shut the fuck up, nerd. Anyways, we're gonna go back to the Remnant and the fact that it's proven to keep him alive, and it's shown to keep him alive because we see him in FNAF 3. He's clearly been in there a while. It's not like, oh, he was in there a month. Even if he was in there a month, like, come on now. There is State of Decay. So he has died, but Remnant is still keeping him alive. And I do believe that it is true from Ultimate Pizza. It's the Ultimate Custom Night. I was going to say pizza. The Ultimate Custom Night, right? That Charlie, I think his name was, the one in Golden Freddy, the one he shouldn't have killed, is still keeping alive too. So I feel like both these factors are not making this man die, okay? Someone's probably said that because it's fucking obvious as shit, right? That's when we get to goddamn Pizza Simulator. Cause you know what? I know someone's gonna say it. Well, what about Pizza Simulator when he burns? Well, that's probably because Henry found out Remnant. Henry found out what he was actually doing and decided to burn him. And that's why he gets burned in the end of Pizza Simulator. That's why they're all brought together because he wants to release the work that he's done. And you're like, well, how did I get to this? Because, right, if Henry, which I feel like Henry would, be the one to blow up FNAF 3, or I'm sorry, blow it up, light it on fire, because, right, how else, what random ass person is gonna be like, yeah, that's not an animatronic, and then just decide to burn the place down? Like, no, it's clearly Afton. There's clearly a reason it gets burned down. So, plot holes aside, right? Then we go to Pizza Simulator, where he burns animatronics, and we're assuming that he dies, right? And that's the theory. But then we get to security breach, and he's there. He's alive. But he's not alive. That's not. I don't think that's him. Well, I mean, I think it's his body because of Remnant. I think the body's preserved him, but I don't think the soul is there anymore. I think he's similar. I think he's just a husk. He's gone. He's dead. He's spaced. So what I think is happening now is we're seeing the end of Afton, and the next games, which is going to be Help Wanted 2, which is sister location bunker, is going to be the remnant experiments or something of the sort that he did with creating the mimic, or what I was thinking, right, from the gameplay, or it's his early beginnings before William before William got with Henry. But I don't think so, because like sure that would cover a lot of bases, but I think it's Remnant, and I think it's the trials he committed in that bunker because Sister Location was just a wild game. If you think about it, because that just seems like the bunker was made for Remnant crafting, and I know it was kind of out of whack, but fuck you, that's all the time I have.